I'm going to get started. So welcome, everybody. This is, I think, our last CASL PD for the year. We only have a couple weeks of school left, not even. And we are very excited to welcome the amazing Amanda Hunt, the next gen librarian. She is actually from Texas, and she and I have met through a variety of things, definitely connected during COVID. Clubhouse, I know that we spent some time together. If y'all remember that app, I don't know if it still lives and exists, but I haven't been on it for a while. But that kept me sane during COVID. And then during ALA, we got to connect again. So I attended an online event a few weeks ago, like last month or April maybe, from Adobe Spark. And I saw Amanda present on end of the year reports. And I was like, ooh, I would love to learn more about this and share this with CASL membership. So I texted her and she graciously agreed, free of charge, to just kind of talk to us for about 20-25 minutes about some of her tips and tricks. And we're just so glad to have you. So welcome, Amanda.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. I love connecting with other school librarians in other states. I have put the link to this just because I had some resources I wanted to share, and I felt like if y'all wanted to come back to it later, feel free to grab the link. Hopefully everyone can access it. I put it in the chat and I pinned it. So it's also on the screen right here. But like sometimes when you do these tiny URLs, that's like, is that a 0? Is that a 1? I don't know. So having it in the chat, I think is good. I went ahead and just put my info right here for anybody that's interested. I am a middle school 6th through 8th library media specialist in Texas. I'm also the secondary lead librarian for my district. And I'm very involved locally in our state organization. I think that's a lot of how Melissa and I were able to connect is through. So ours is called CASL, and y'all are CASL, and so I think a lot of stuff with AASL and things of that nature. I love being involved at the national level as well in a variety of things. But I am like an Adobe innovator. However, this is not going to be all 100% Adobe. I want to make sure everyone has options. And so I did put some Canvas stuff in there as well. If you're not familiar, Adobe Express is free 100% for grades K to 12. You just have to sign in using your school email. And then you can use all the great things in there to create lots of different graphics and web pages and animate videos and all this stuff. However, the one thing I want to focus on today obviously would be infographics. I use it a lot to advocate for myself and my fellow librarians. And I think the best way to do that is to use data. If you're familiar with having to work with other administrators or people that have the power, they like to look at data. And no, they don't want to read a 3 to 4 page report that you give them. So having the data being put into a pretty infographic that's visually appealing and that is accessible to like the layman that don't know what life is like as a librarian is, I think, super important. So obviously there's going to be like some steps to this. You're going to have to run like reports through your library management system. In my district, we use Destiny Follett. And if that's what y'all use, then I did put a link right here so that you could like see how to run some of the reports, being like collection statistics, historical, like to see how many books got checked out in a year, how many books you weeded, what your inventory reports look like. If you have a way to have the kids sign in when they come in the library, you're going to want to put how many visits. So I think the important piece is seeing, what do I want to show my stakeholders? What do I want to show my principal or your school board? What do you want to share with them first? And so that'll help you narrow down like what reports you want to run, like how many holds got placed, how many books got checked out, how many ebooks, how many audiobooks, if you're able to run those reports as well. So we use also for like our digital content, we use Sora. in our district. And so I'm able to pull reports and information from that website to be able to share. If you are So then after you have all this data, you need to think, what am I trying to convey? What am I trying to share with my principal? Or, are there any changes that you'd like to make? So for us in our district, our elementary librarians are in the special areas rotation. And it depends, like some are in to a certain extent, some are in 100%. So I think what my main goal is with my elementary lead librarian is to make that obviously 100% out of rotation, but that doesn't seem likely. So then to make sure everyone is at like a percentage so that they still have time in their day to do inventory, to do weeding, to process new books, to purchase new books, all of the things that people don't know. That is the other side of our job, of the library management part of it. And so if you're trying to get, more time added to your day to do these things, then the report stuff that I'm going to want to run is, how busy our library was, or how often we were closed for testing in the secondary level. That's always the struggle. So you just need to use the data to your advantage. If you're hoping for a bigger budget, you could say, look, I only had 600 books checked out this year. Could it be that I need more, or I need newer titles? Make the numbers work for you and what you're trying and hoping to accomplish by collecting this data. And it can be something that you do at the end of the year. I do it every single year, and I share it on social media so that other librarians are able to know that that's something that they can do. Use the numbers, make them work for you. Share them with my principal. I do it at my summative conference whenever I meet with my principal at the end of the year. I also send it to our school board members. It's something that I am very much, am very transparent in, because I want to show the wins, but I also want to show where our gaps are. So however open you want to be and who you want to share that with is important. How often is also important too. I collect the data every month and I make a graphic and I share on social media, but I don't share it with my principal every month. I used to do a newsletter every month for our campus and I would include it there. But I think teachers were like, okay, that's enough with the emails, Amanda. You can calm down now. So I think that it's something that you could share in every quarter. I also share it with the students. Like I'll put it in my Canvas. We are a Canvas district for our learning management system. And so I have a Canvas course that all the kids enroll in at the beginning of the year. And so I like to put that information in there, like top checkouts. What was our which classroom had the most checkouts? I like to do that. Like Miss Freeman's second period class had the most checkouts. And like we have a book vending machine. So I'll give tokens to all of the students in that class. So it's a great way to also do incentives and things like that. Also, knowing this information and running these reports is so important in our job in general. It's something we should be doing pretty often so that you know your collection as well as you can, so that nothing pops up, that you don't have a parent coming up saying that there's a book in your collection that you didn't know was there, that is something that they want to challenge. I feel like the more we can be proactive than reactive in our position right now with how turbulent it is to be a school librarian, and that's in Texas. Maybe in Connecticut, y'all are amazing. And I am, and y'all have no parent issues, no book challenges or book banning happening. I would love that. But unfortunately in Texas, that is not the case. And so it's something that we always need. I'm always trying to tell my librarians to stay on top of and make sure that you are aware of what books you have on the shelves, run reports pretty consistently through Tidal Wave or TidalWise, like you upload your collection. And it'll show you, which books are they labeled adult, which books that you need to go through and look and see. If you're in elementary, do you have any young adult titles? Is that something you need to look at as well? So data can be our good friend. And I've put two kind of examples here The first one is from my friend Kelsey Bogan. She did this back in 2022, but it's obviously still relevant. It talks about the different reports you can run for what you're looking for. And then she also had like the infographic as well. And that's something that she would share with her staff, with her students, with her principal and things like that. And then also this article I came across through Knowledge Quest a few like last year maybe. And I liked the layout of it, and kind of everything that I'm talking about now is like how I approach it when it comes to running reports and showing data. So yeah, it talks about the purpose, who is your audience, how you do want to format this. Do you want to have links embedded so that they can click and see all of these reports if they wanted to? So it's super important examples that you can refer back to if you want to. But I did put some templates in here. Like I said, I want to make sure that we're being equitable so that if you don't use Adobe Express or don't know that much about it, a lot of educators tend to be pretty proficient in Canva. So I did put an example of both. This is the one I think that Melissa is talking about. Oh, of course, I have to all the signed in things. And so on this one, whenever you click on that link, if you haven't logged into Adobe Express before, you're going to have to use a school email to log in. And then right here, this button that says remix, this is going to automatically make a copy in your own Adobe Express. And I'm gonna do that just so that y'all can see how I did this. So this is actually a guided activity within Adobe Express. It has like a little video that'll pop out, and it's called Ruby's Day in Data, and it shows the kids how to make a graph in Adobe Express. And what I love about it, because I am not math centric like whatsoever, is that whenever I change the value on the side right here, the pie graph, or this is a donut chart, automatically changes with it, so that I don't have to figure out how big the pie graph or the bar graph needs to be. It does all that for me. And so what I did is in February, I was like, you know what? If one more person casually mentions that they would love to sit and read books all day in the library, like I do, apparently, I was going to lose it. So I decided to track my day. And so what I did is I just kind of took note of how often I was doing things throughout the day. I have student library aides, and they were very helpful in this, as that is not something that would be usually on the forefront of my mind. I'm usually working, and that's it. But when I would switch tasks, the librarians would be like, hey, Miss Hunt, you need to write down that you did 10 minutes of X, Y, and Z, so that I could kind of add it up at the end of the day. And this is something that I feel like is great to share with anyone on your campus, so that they are aware of what we do. I know us being singletons is hard, because no one else on our campus does what we do unless you have a co-librarian or a an aide or something like that. So it's important that we share that information out. So I use like hours of the day. And so the biggest part of my day was teaching. And so I wanted to make sure that was accounted for, so that they knew that, hey, I was teaching classes, for a big part of the day. I was checking emails, I was doing hallway duty, I was planning for the next week, inventory, all of those things. So this is just like a snapshot of a day in the life of a librarian. And that's something that you could do anytime during the year, just to kind of show what we do for people that do not know. And so I highly recommend this one, but like I said, it is in Adobe Express for you to edit. And then the other Adobe Express example is this one that I share at the end of the year. And this is the one I shared this year. And I do this at the end of every school year. Okay. I don't think I've put this on social media yet, because I always do like an end of year wrap up, but my end of year was weird this year. But yeah, I put the name of our library, the year, and then I've included all the information that I felt I needed to for the year. So like, how many students did I serve? How many grants did I win? And then like, the top checkouts, what events we did, because again, like not everyone knows that I do like pop-up events, or how many clubs I run, or our district's Comic-Con event that I was in charge of. So I just kind of share all of this so that people can know if you can hit remix and edit all of this to your liking as well. But basically that's what I feel like my stakeholders want to know. We did like 2 author visits, how many, the different apps that I used when I taught my lessons. My principal is interested in doing interested in knowing that information, because whenever she comes and observes me, it's for like one class at one point in the year, and I want her to know what we do in a whole. Okay. And then in Canva, same thing. This is actually from last year. I might want to sign in. It's been a hot minute. So whenever you are in Canva, bro, get it.
Real quick, Amanda, somebody wants to know how many students are in your school. There was a question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. I have 997 when I did that. So I'm at a middle school, 6th through 8th. We're going to hit 1,000 next year, and we'll probably never go back underneath 1,000. We're growing pretty high in our area in our district. So yeah, that's important to know too, right? So that you know like how many titles per student we have. When I run that title wise report, I'm always hoping for that number to be green. Generally it's in the red if I'm not having enough books in our collection. So I like keeping these from year to year, because you can see like how many books I've added since the previous year. I can see how much growth we've had as well. So if you're hoping to kind of show like a pattern of behavior of how many books I purchase each year or all these things, it's important to keep these for later too.
Another quick question is, did you track database usage?
So it's kind of yes, I did. It's in our district. It's kind of interesting. We have TextQuest, which is something that like the whole state of Texas uses, and I'm able to get some data from that, like how many new users or how many hours I think that kids spent on there. I wish I was able to get more data from it than I do. But honestly, that's another piece, is if your district or your state is paying for databases, how much usage are they really getting? And it's also great for you to know too. Like for me, I didn't do as much research lessons this year as I personally wanted. I had to rearrange my schedule so much for so many different things like testing. So it's important to know like, hey, that's a goal for me for next year, is to have more database usage. And I can compare from year to year, like what was the reason then why I didn't have this much database? Oh, it's because we had to cancel classes so it's good to have that. Why is it like this? Because of this, because that's going to be the first thing your principal asks, like what can you do before we get money or pull money or ask for things or whatever. And so having the data and being able to explain some of it through, how many kids we have, or how many times kids move in and move out. We have a very high Spanish speaking population in Texas, particularly in our district. And so I always want to show how many Spanish books we have, so that I can show that we need to be constantly adding and updating those as well.
Can I ask another quick question kind of related to this, that I'm always kind of curious? Do you have a system for collecting this data throughout the year, so that when you sit down at the end of the year, you're like, okay, now this is all I have to do is put it together, instead of like, oh my God, where do I even start with like
exactly
my stats?
Yeah. So this right here is where I started, and I have a better graphic, but this is like the first one that I started doing because I wanted it month by month. And then that way I could just add them all up at the end. So I call this one August, September 2024. And so then I'll go back and I'll pull the ones from this school year and I'll add them up. It makes it easier than if you're trying to just do it at the end of the year. So definitely if you want to do it like per quarter or every month, and just to kind of see where the trends are. My numbers look real good at the beginning of the year, and then we get into testing season and they start to go down. So I always like to point that out as well.
And something too that I think about is I know that we're here in Connecticut, where the majority of the people who are watching this right now are. We're in the last couple of weeks of school, and I've even just had conversations, and they're like, "Oh my God, I can't do one more thing. I can't do this. I can't think about this." But what I would encourage people to do is make goals for next year and get some systems in place, so that, like Amanda's saying, every month you sit down at the end of the month and you just put together your data in a graphic, so that you're ready to go and have those templates ready, and do that over the summer or right when you get back to school or in the next couple of weeks before you leave. So I think for me personally, that's my goal. I don't know that I'm going to get an end of the report year done this year, but I'm very inspired now to come up with some systems for next year.
Oh, yeah, that is such a good point. And it's honestly like I have a list of things that I do at the beginning of the year, and I have a list of things that I do at the end of the year, and this is on my list of things. So it's something that I'm just like, it's a check thing now. And then every month I have an alarm that goes off on the first of the month to do this job. So on the first, or if it's a weekend, then the second, or whatever day that is that I'm at school, this is something I do so that I can share and go back and look at that data. So it's just part of my routine now. But yeah, I think that setting goals is the huge part of what this can be and what it can do. I don't know about y'all, but in Texas, we have an evaluation system for teachers, and it's called T-Test. And my lead librarian for elementary and myself were like, we want one for librarians, because a lot of times they don't see us as teachers. And so we created T-less. And so we took all the points, and obviously it's the same as a teacher. You have to do a pre-conference, you meet with your evaluator, and then they come and watch you teach a class. And then you have a post-conference, and then you have a summative at the end of the year. So if I had a goal, because I had a goal of how much I was teaching a lot of AI stuff this year, as I feel like it's important for our kids to know the ethics behind it and all of those things. So my goal was to be able to have them be more familiar with being able to track it easier when they catch things that are done with AI, to look for, the tags on each of their graphics that they see and that kind of thing. So that was my goal. And then I was able to show that, yes, like from the beginning of the year when I started, now they can repeat it to me in each class. Like, hey, this is what AI looks like. This is what we should be thinking about. Is it stealing from creators? Like my kids can do all of that. So it may not be something measurable that you could show for the end of the year, like what goal it has, but it could also be like how many lessons you did on this topic. And so I think that is super important as well. And after you make your graphics, whether it's a monthly thing, a quarterly thing, or just every year, you're going to want to share it like in a multitude of ways. So I share it on social media mainly for other librarians to realize what an advocacy piece this can be, especially like if you need data for anything. Like in our district, we write grants with our education foundation, and they love numbers too. And so if I show like, hey, I only have X number of Spanish books in my collection, it would be really great if I could add more, then they need to be able to see that. Or I can compare my stats to the other middle schools or whatever and say, mine is lacking in this area. This is what I would like to use grant money for. You can also use it, like I said, in a summative with your admin. You can add it to your school or district's library website. So we redid our entire library services website through our district. So I always ask the librarians, let's share it. Let's put it out there. The more transparent you can be about all this stuff, the more, the less some of the parents that are being really loud have a leg to stand on. And so if we can continue to show all the amazing things we do, the programs, the clubs, the activities, the lessons, then we can better have people supporting us and being like, no, look at all the things they do. They're not hiding anything. They're not trying to get away with anything. So it's just another way to advocate for your program and for our jobs. I share it with school board members. And then, like I said, if you want to do something for your program that you weren't able to do, we started a podcast this year, thanks to a grant that I wrote, because That was something I felt like my students really wanted. They wanted to use their voice, but not have to be like a whole elective class for them in middle school, which is our like morning announcements kind of thing. And so I started the podcast, and I've seen such great, amazing things come out of that. So then I can go back to the Ed Foundation and be like, look at what your this money did. And that's something that they also love, is to make sure you're following up with anyone that has supported the library and helped the library to show the difference that it is making. Any other questions? I can't see the chat, so let me switch over.
I think there was
look at all this.
There was one more that said Melanie wanted to know if you dealt with tech issues. She said, I'm trying to keep track of tech tickets and Chromebooks checked out to also show my value at the middle school. And I know a lot of librarians here in Connecticut are responsible for Chromebooks and technology.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
And me too. I'm so glad I'm not. I don't want that responsibility, and I do not have it right now. So I'm very grateful. But
exactly. And it's honestly, I see it all the time on social media. I see librarians who are ready to chunk whole carts of Chromebooks out the window. And so and I feel like it's a double-edged sword, right? Because we say we want to keep our jobs, we want to show how important we are to our campus. And so when they give you these extra duties that don't really have a whole lot to do with your job as a librarian, we're super annoyed by it because it takes so much time away from the librarian job. But a lot of people are like, well, it's job security, because who else is going to do it? So in our district, we are an iPad one-to-one district, and we have technicians on campuses that deal with that. But 100% you should be including that. If there is a way to show how many times a kid comes in that you have to stop what you're doing to deal with a Chromebook, they won't, if you're just if you're just saying, oh, I do Chromebooks all the time. No, a good 2.5 hours of my day is spent troubleshooting. That's actual legitimate numbers that you can use and go and be like, look at how many kids I wasn't able to help in the library because of that. Look at how much time was taken away from my program because of Chromebooks. And just see if there's maybe another paraprofessional on campus that could come and assist with some of the ones that are a lot of the troubleshooting things is just do a hard reset, or you need to plug it in. A lot of times when they come to you for these things, it's a fairly easy fix unless it's something bigger. So yes, if you are trying to get out of that responsibility, or at least delegate and have different responsibilities, it's so important to share that data, but then also come up with solutions so that you're going in solution minded to a conversation like this, because the last thing admin wants to hear is, this sucks, change it, without giving a few ideas that you have that could make potentially your life a lot easier. Took note of the kids. Yeah. Wow. That's crazy, Caitlin. Yeah. And that number, so if I see that as a number, I'm like, oh my gosh, we need to figure something out here. Because then the kids aren't getting the best library program that they could get, and that's a disservice to them. So yeah, were there any other?
Melanie has her hand raised. Go ahead, Melanie.
Oh, yay.
We have a few more minutes with Amanda, and then we're going to let her go sleep. Are you able to turn your mic on, Melanie?
Can I?
Maybe. No?
I don't know. You can put it in the chat too if you don't want to talk.
Yeah, she's been texting, but yeah, I don't know.
Melissa.
Yes.
Yeah. I have a quick question. It's Christina.
Yeah.
I was tied up at work, but was this recorded?
As far as we know, yes. Shannon has hopefully successfully recorded it. We will know after the fact.
Okay. And if there's any slide or anything that was shared,
it's pinned. So if you go to in the chat at the very top, you should be able to access it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. I'm sorry I came late. It's amazing amount of stuff that you've been sharing. Thank you.
Yeah, I know. Amanda's amazing. So I'm really hoping the recording works. And then, yes, we will have her slides.
If it doesn't, reach out anytime, the next gen librarian across all platforms. So feel free. Thank you for everything y'all do.
Thank you.
rock stars.
Well, and Melanie was just saying she can't turn on her sound right now, but that they did just lose their tech person and their para, so it's just her, and she's trying to show the data. And yes, Melanie, I think you're in Rhode Island. I think I saw. And I'm curious. This is sort of an off. If you're the one that has the book blog, if you are the one in the same, because that's awesome. And Melanie's going to do a back to school, I think, PD, because she talked about how she does throughout the year. And she offered a really cool lib guide. So go back into the chat, Amanda, if you didn't see that, and grab that, because that might be something you were interested in also. Yep. But yeah, so cool. So cool. And I think, Melanie, are you also an author? I feel like I know your name. I feel like I have books by you, but I could be totally wrong. But I think that might be real. So I'm going to let him, nobody else has anything else to add or to say really quick, or Amanda, if you have any last words.
No, I just, if anything, if you came in late, you missed it, didn't catch the recording, whatever, I'm 100% open to answering any kind of questions at any time. We are all in this together. So feel free to reach out. I'll send, I don't charge for any of my stuff that I make. So I'll send you anything at any time. I did add the link, Alexandra, for those that join late. They don't have it pinned, I think. And so I just added that as well. So feel free to keep that Padlet and use it as you need to. So thank y'all.
Well, no, thank you. Thank you for taking time out of your very busy day. You were presenting all day, and I'm so excited to see you sometime in the near future. I think at ASL, right? That's going to be our next. Yes. So anybody who's on here that's going to ASL in the fall will get to maybe hang out with Amanda a little bit. So yay. Thank you. Have a very good summer.
You too.
All right. So we have about 20 minutes left. We don't have to go the whole time either. And I don't know. I feel like my computer might not be working well because everybody looks like they're paused. So I don't know. Can you still hear me? I see you. Okay. I see Caitlin. Okay, good. It was like glitchy before, and I always run out of, I feel like, bandwidth at this time of day in my house. So, and I don't know, Shannon or Jenny or anybody, did anybody else have anything they wanted to throw out there or add to go into our next kind of segment? Shannon looks like she's a deer in the headlight. No.
I asked for them. I just want to say this was awesome. So thank you so much. And I'm so glad, even though I'm not in Connecticut, I really appreciate all the PD that you have offered this year. I've loved all of it. So
well, we're so happy to have you, and we're like New England. So keep coming, and we will connect, and we'll have you in the beginning of September to kind of talk about how you set up your data collection. Because I think that's really important too, because it's hard at the end. It's so overwhelming. Everything is happening. I don't know. I don't even know how to run basic reports for some of my tools. And, to know that prior to having to do it obviously is optimal. But I just think if anybody here that's on the call also has tips, tricks, techniques, what do you collect, or if you have templates. I've been kind of taking screenshots on social media because a lot of people are posting on Instagram and Facebook different things that I've seen in the last couple of weeks, and it looks so great. It's just so visual.
Are you all using Destiny and Sora?
I know a lot of us are. I don't know. There are some other platforms out there, so I'm not sure what else other people are using, but yes.
Just to put this out there for you, for Sora, every month I can collect the books that were read, the number of books. But when it comes to holds, I was looking back, I'm I don't have the holds for March. And really, when you check your holds in Sora, when you go to Insights in the Overdrive Marketplace, and this is I can share more with you after, but it kind of just gives you the recent ones. So that's all I go off of. But when I reached out to Renee at Sora, she ran reports, and she's I can't get this information for you. So now I was okay, I learned my lesson. Every month I have to be diligent about trying to keep track of holds in Sora, because they can't even find it for you.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
And that seems like that's a flaw. They need to fix that.
Yes.
We have Renee also. She's been around forever.
Well,
Renee
she's
is great.
amazing. Amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Renee is great from Sora. And I feel like Sora though also, and I don't know, when I run my title wise report, I always do that a few times a year, definitely in the fall. It does not pull my Sora data because I think, isn't there something with the mark records that there's something, it doesn't, even though when you search in Destiny, you can see what's in Sora, but like it doesn't pull that data.
Oh, in Rhode Island, no, ours is separate. So our consortium all pays into Sora, but it's separate from our Follett catalog.
Oh,
So
you can't search and see what's in Sora by going into. Oh,
we have to go to a Sora app for that.
Interesting. Ours is integrated. Like when kids search, they can see if there's an ebook or an audiobook or the print book.
Oh, interesting.
In Destiny, but we, as far as Shannon can correct me if I'm wrong, we can't, like when I run, it says I have 1% digital, and I know that more than 1% of what we have is digital. So that's not being reflected in my title wise reports, but I've always been kind of curious about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does anybody else have like any really great insights or burning questions that maybe Melanie or somebody else who regularly does reports might be able to answer? And did you find anything, Shannon, from CASL? And you used to do really amazing ones, though. I remember seeing them. I was always very impressed.
So I had asked a couple of weeks ago for like end of year reports. So people were messaging me. So I have a couple examples like it's not Carrie Griffiths. I was like just looking at this too. I ended up doing one for my T-valve just so then because I don't think Melanie knows this. So Connecticut changed their evaluation system. So it was much more favorable for like librarians because like we're not a traditional classroom. So I ended up doing in my T-valve folder, I have a snapshot. It's not as like cool as the one Carrie sent me where it was like big, like 3 letters, like stop sign almost looking. But I did like, this is the amount of checkouts we had for breakdown for grades. This is what we did for over the year. Let's see if I can read it really fast. Yeah. The amount of grants I got. So my fundraising, my circulation stats, delivery. So like I pick up books from our public library. I've been trying to work more with our public library. And then like a first time something we did, which Amanda also had on hers, which was we had 2 girls actually finish the Nutmeg nominees.
Oh, wow.
And so I was like, I'm going out. We're doing a pizza party. You're getting whatever sweets and candies you want. You're getting a gift card out of like my slush funds. So those were like my highlights. I like picked those specific things. I think if I did this for the Board of Ed, I would maybe change it up a little less like kid friendly.
That's very cool though. But I do think the key is like, what do you want to highlight? And everybody's might be unique, like what are the goals? What are your school goals? What are your district goals? What are your personal goals in your library? And highlight those things so that it's very visual. I think that's very cool.
We started collecting volunteer hours. I don't know if you guys have volunteers in your library at all. No? Okay.
No.
I do. I have a volunteer who comes in once a week. She lives across the street and I have her log in. So I do have like records of how many hours because I am the only person in my space. There's no TA, there's no para, there's nobody. So I kind of have to recruit my own help.
Yeah.
So yeah.
In fact, when they told me that my part-time assistant the job was cut because of budget. He was like, you're just gonna have to get more volunteers. And I already have like 2 or 3 moms a day coming in to try to like fill in gaps. So yeah.
And that's BS. That's not what the answer to that issue is, but anybody else want to add anything or in the chat if you're not comfortable sharing or turning your camera or mic on? And hopefully Shannon, if we have old things in our drive, they're there. We just have to find them and organize them. And that can be something that we kind of work on over the summer also and hit the ground running. So we'll connect with Melanie and get a date on the calendar, like maybe the third week of September, once some of the dust has maybe settled a smidge, but enough, like early enough to then just for the end of September, we can kind of talk about what are we going to collect this month. And, you know, we could even check in on a monthly basis if we're super zealous, or we could, you know, every couple of months to kind of check in to see how we're doing. I just think support is nice, you know, like,
and and deciding at the beginning, like, what is it exactly that you want to collect? Like, what's the story that you want to tell? You know?
Exactly.
That's just important, because then you just put it into this whatever, and then you just plug it in each month, and
it just becomes part of your routine. You know, you just have to make it a habit to do these things. Learn the reports you need to run and know how to get them easily. And yes, and again, I just want to reiterate, so many people are feeling so much stress right now. Do not, like, have grace for yourself. Do not put all this pressure on yourself to be like, you have to do this. If you're able to and you have the bandwidth, absolutely. It is very important. But if you are just at max capacity, just know it's okay. And, you know, just start making a plan for next year, and maybe send a few little stats to whoever needs to see it. If you are worried about, you know, your position, or if, you know, there's just a lot of budget stuff going on right now. We keep getting emails every day from different districts at CASL of just budgets not doing what they need to be doing. And it's, you know, it's very sad and scary and unfortunate, but I'm so happy there are like 18 people in real life online. That's like amazing.
It's such a great topic, you know.
But well, okay, if nobody else has anything like that they want to talk about, ask. I mean, give you 15 minutes back of your day. It's sunny. You can still go out and take a walk real quick if you want to, or start running your reports. But yeah, I thought yes. And then maybe Barb even did that one too, because Christina said she thinks that Barb presented on that. And I don't know, was it in CASL? Was that what at the CASL conference? Yes, that's what Christina had said. Yep.
It was at a conference. I can picture the location. I can picture the room she was in, and it was like a standing room only. But I can't picture what the venue was. But it was definitely at a conference, and she was showing it for that she was saying that this is how she goes into her end of year evaluation meetings. She goes in with an infographic with all this data in there.
That's very cool.
Oh,
well,
wow.
All right.
Yeah,
well,
Harvard
thank you.
University School. That sounds about right.
We'll find anything we find. We'll start creating a specific folder and then get something up on our website so that again, it'll probably be behind members only. So if you are not yet a member of CASL, join. It's very affordable. There's lots of benefits. It'll probably be behind the members only, and so will the recording. So just thank you all for being here and taking time out of your very busy week. We know it's like crunch time, so have a wonderful summer, and be on the lookout. We might do one more social sometime in June, so watch your emails. We like to get together to celebrate.
Oh, that's nice.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Bye.